here we are once again. Episode 3 of the Lee and Hayley Show Overtime Podcast.
Yeah. We got a wonderful letter from a guy. Did you read that?
Yes, I did. Thank you. I've got to look up his name. We got an email.
Listening to us from Georgia, I believe.
Yes. Wherever you're listening from, if you have any questions, comments, praise, send it to ideas@leeandhaley.com. Where did it go?
But anyway, we love helping people pass the time.
Scott
Scott
from Warner Robins, Georgia.
Yeah, thank you, buddy, for writing in. We appreciate you.
Here's a little thing. I'll just read a little section of it.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was driving, and he said, I'm one of those people that will drive forever and go as far as I can go without stopping. So you can imagine how difficult it was for a grown man with a full bladder not to piss himself while listening to Lee talk about his adolescent ass crack cyst. If you're wondering what that's about, go listen to episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And then he also responded to, last week I shared some, I just opened up about mental health, self-worth, confidence and stuff in response to Lee and I went to see a hypnotist. And I talked about that and he wrote some lovely, very encouraging things. So Scott, thank you so much. If you ever have thoughts, comments or whatever, send them to our email. We'd love to hear from you. So anyway, well, good to see you. Mm-hmm. The day that we're recording this is our first day back in the office to film not only this, but also the Lee and Hayley Show. You were on a luxurious West Coast trip with your buddies. And
our friends from Limestone Farms.
Limestone Farms Bourbon.
Darren, and my buddy Richard, who's also the show's attorney. Mm-hmm. And another friend joined us down. Actually, a couple of friends. One of them from high school.
You didn't even know he was going to be down there when you booked the trip,
I
right?
knew he was going to be down there. He didn't know I was going to be down there until
Neil.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a great time. We started in Palm Springs, played a lot of golf, watched for those folks here in Kentucky, or if you're a fan of the PGA, you know the journeyman PGA golfer Josh Teeter.
Love him.
We went to the American Express Open that takes place out at Palm Springs, where some kid from Alabama won, who was an amateur. Did you see that?
No.
Pro didn't win it.
He won it? Amateur
This
won it?
kid from Alabama.
Was it Shia LaBeouf?
No.
Oh.
He doesn't get any prize money.
See,
he's an amateur.
I know.
And he whipped like Ricky Fowler and who else was in that? Scotty Scheffler. Mm-hmm. All those guys.
Mm. And he didn't get anything?
No, because he wants to maintain his amateur status. So the second place guy got the first place.
Why do you want to maintain your amateur status?
That's a great question. I don't know. I guess so you can continue to play college. But the thing is, you can get NIL money.
Now you can get NIL money. Maybe someone will slide him a little NIL
I'm sure.
money.
Well, he's buddies with Nick Saban anyway.
Nick.
Yeah.
Newly retired. What do you think he's up to?
I don't know.
I think he's probably still drawing up plans for the next game.
Probably will end up somewhere else.
Yeah, but the man is 72 years old.
Yeah, maybe
Some
not.
people like to work till the day they die.
Maybe he'll go do television or something. You know who else was?
I see him bringing a lot of flair to the TV. Nick Saban, great coach, interviews and things. You see him. I've never been like now.
Him and Bill Belichick are sort of curmudgeons.
They're not. No matter how much media training they get, great coaches, they're horrible at media. And so I'm just like, have you seen Saban in the Aflac commercials?
Yeah.
Thank God they brought
Deion Sanders
into it to bring a little charisma. Nick's like, yeah. You can even see it's like it's paining him to have to bring energy to it. No, it's not beneath him. It's just that's just not who he is.
He'll take the money.
So I don't think he would have expert insight, like if you had him on ESPN or something like that commentating on college football, but it would be the most blasé. Whatever he said, I'm sure would really apply, but it would be like, just trying to get through it.
He's not Terry Bradshaw.
No, who I love.
I do too.
I love Terry Bradshaw, including he plays the dad and Kathy Bates' husband in the movie Failure to Launch, starring Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew McConaughey.
Where he does the nude scene.
Oh, does a nude scene. Not from the front. It's not full frontal. It's just from the back.
It's full rear, though.
It's full rear, and it's hilarious. That is an underrated rom-com. If you're looking for a rom-com, Failure to Launch.
Yeah.
So good. Matthew McConaughey, hotter than ever. Bradley Cooper's in it. So good.
Oh, yeah. He's the bad guy, right?
No.
Bradley
one of his
Cooper's
best friends.
Not the bad guy? Oh.
No. He shares a secret at one point that's kind of a dick move, but it's you know how rom-coms go. It all works out. A rom-com I still have not seen is the new Anyone But You that everyone is saying that's in theaters still now. Yeah, the Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. I still haven't seen it yet, and every review I see, people love it, but say it's the best rom-com in. It harkens back to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and all those great rom-coms.
It's good. A lot of conflict. They want to be together, but they can't be together. You know, all that nonsense that never happens in real life.
I thought they
guess.
don't want to be together. I thought they hate each
Well,
other.
no, they really want to be together.
Oh.
But there's a misunderstanding.
Oh.
And they can't
Get
get through it. They can't get past their own pride. Yeah.
I could get past my pride if Glenn Powell was offering.
Could you?
How tall is he?
I don't know.
I gotta look him
I think
up.
he's normal height.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
He's not super tall, but I don't think he's very short. They had
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
he is,
fun.
but you can just never tell on TV.
Now, here's where I identify with Glenn Powell, and I did like it because she's obviously
6 feet tall.
She's obviously younger than him, and they kept making fun of his age in the movie, like he was super old or something.
Oh, I don't know. Well, Sydney Sweeney's 5'3".
Yeah.
How old is Glenn Powell? Let's
He's
see.
like
he is
30 what, 8?
35.
35.
He's the same age as me.
Yeah.
He's a little younger than me, just by a few months. But Glenn, my sweet little baby.
But they acted like he was some sort of, cretin. Because, I don't know, she's playing someone considerably
Much
younger,
younger,
I guess.
yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah. Let's see how old Sydney Sweeney is. She's got to be. She was born in 97. So she's what, 20?
And he was born in
26?
88.
He was born in 88.
Yeah.
Same year as I. What city was I born in? A little trivia for you.
What city were you born in? Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh my gosh, look at you.
Yeah,
And you were born in Winchester, Kentucky?
correct.
What hospital?
Well, let me decide. Which hospital was it over there in Winchester?
Well, Lee, I don't-
The several big universities and all the clinics they
was
have
that
there.
the teaching hospital? Well, I don't know. I'm not from there.
The Clark County Hospital.
Clark
They only
County
got
Regional?
one. Yes. Well, now it's a regional hospital.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
at the time it was just the one.
Yeah. I don't know where I was just born in a hospital.
Yeah,
don't
in
know.
Memphis.
In Memphis. Beautiful Memphis. My parents were living there at the time. Yeah.
I was in Memphis last year. I enjoyed my time there because I was stayed near one of the casinos in Tupelo. Our show is seen in Tupelo, by the way. If you're listening in Tupelo, you can watch the Lee and Hayley TV show.
Hello, Mississippi friends.
But I enjoyed Memphis. We did a lot of. We went to Graceland, me and my buddies, because we were there to watch a football game.
I remember seeing pictures.
Watch Ole Miss play Kentucky.
Yes.
And we went to Graceland. We also went to what's the motel where Dr. King was shot. We went there.
Oh, I don't know the name of it. Yeah, wow.
We were there. That was moving.
How does that? It is. It has to be incredibly
depressing
I was gonna
and
say,
moving at the same time. You know,
it's like when you see where JFK was shot. It's like, whoa, I can't believe I'm actually here, and
Yeah.
it's a landmark, and you want to see it, but it's like, ugh.
but they have it's a museum now.
Yeah, the whole thing.
But they got where the balcony was,
Mm-hmm.
and then where they assumed the shot came from. It's just. Oof.
Yeah, you need to see it, but when you walk away, it's like,
Well, you're there. You might as well.
You might as well, yeah.
And they do a wonderful job at presenting, his legacy and what he did.
yeah. You know what? I have driven through Memphis, but I have never visited Memphis since my family left there when I was like 4 months old.
We also went to Beale Street,
Okay.
and that's where
Thoughts?
I don't care for that too much. I'm not a blues guy.
Yeah.
I love jazz. I love jazz. Blues it's like, if you're not a country person and you like rock and roll, that's sort of jazz and blues, or
Okay.
they're related, but they're not.
related but different dads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the step brother
Yeah.
to jazz.
Okay. All right.
I don't get it.
Blues is the John C. Reilly
Yeah,
to Will Ferrell's jazz.
you're right. Sure,
Okay.
it's a good
Okay.
analogy.
Here you go. Step Brothers. Great movie. Great film. You know the movie that came on TV the other day, and I watched about half of it before I was like, I don't really care to finish this, was Daddy's Home. Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
I
liked it.
kind of remember hearing about it, and it
was
came
okay.
on. Yeah, I just didn't finish it. I couldn't get in. I couldn't believe Will Ferrell. I couldn't believe his character. He was too
nice, syrupy.
nice. Like there was no joke. He was like too nice. Like that. That was the whole thing. Is that Mark Wahlberg is this rough, tough motorcycle riding bad dude, and then Will Ferrell's this really sweet. But I felt like I just didn't. It was just too much. I just
Now-
couldn't believe it.
Daddy's Home 2
Oh,
had very inspired casting
really?
because then the grandfathers come in, and
Who plays the grandfather?
Will Ferrell's dad is a very sensitive, earthy John Lithgow.
Oh, great casting.
And Mark Wahlberg's dad is a hard-nosed, hard-drinking, fighting former military guy, I think, Mel Gibson. And it's perfect casting for both those guys.
Oh, that's great casting.
And Mel Gibson and John Lithgow hate each other.
Oh, of course they do. Because they can't connect.
But you know how it's all going to work out.
It always works out.
It's all about the grandkids.
And that, we get mad at movies where it doesn't all work out in the end, but you got to appreciate the shock value of it.
Yeah.
Usually in movies and shows, it's like everybody, the main character's not going to die. Game of Thrones changed that whole model for us. Everybody dies.
Yeah, I always would try to explain people who weren't watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Sean Bean is the only known actor in that whole thing when that thing started.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And I liked it. And and I remember they get him to the chopping block, and I thought, how's he going to get out of here?
Yeah.
Where's the arrow going to come from? Who's going to rescue him? I wonder what they do. And then chop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
What?
Wait
so
a
the
minute.
Show's just over?
And the way I would compare it, imagine if you're watching the Andy Griffith Show.
Yes.
And Sheriff Taylor is shot and killed. Now Barney's got to figure it out. You think, we don't have a show anymore.
It's done.
And that was just season 1. It had, 12, 15 seasons or something?
Yeah, something crazy.
And then every 2 years, they kill somebody else you fell in love with.
Yes.
These writers just don't care.
They don't care about the actor. They don't care about how much audiences love it. But it
took a lot of guts.
It did take a lot of guts.
This is the first show I think that I noticed that was doing that kind of thing.
But then it was so well developed and such long form, it got you to fall in love with the next character. And the next character.
Or you really hate and you're rooting for the demise.
You're like, how is this person still
Cersei
alive? Yeah, man.
Who I loved her though in
she's very beautiful.
300.
What is it, Lena Headey?
Lena Headey.
300 was such a good movie.
With
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler she played his wife.
And that was just on TV recently. I watched about 15 minutes of it. So good.
Thinking of his queen as he died.
He dies? No. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so recently I may have mentioned this last week. I don't know that I did, though. I recently binge watched, like everyone else, Fool Me Once on Netflix.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's an 8-part series. It's British. He's dead. My husband's dead. The lead is absolutely beautiful. And the conversation on TikTok is that everyone's obsessed with her, men and women. It's really, really good. I'd never heard of the author Harlan Coben. Forgive me, but
you're not forgiven.
Thank you. I was talking to them, not you.
Oh.
No, but now that this has come out, apparently there's a ton of other books he's written that are miniseries on Netflix already. So if you love Fool Me Once, just search his name on Netflix, and there's like one that stars is it Michael C. No, that was in Dexter.
Yeah,
is his name Michael C. Hall?
I don't know.
Anyway, he's amazing. Some of the same actors that are in Fool Me Once are in some other ones. I think you would really like it.
Yeah, I may check it out.
It's good. It's a mystery, murder, intrigue, British accents.
I gotta watch this comic everybody loves, Dusty Slay. Have you watched him yet? Apparently Josh Teeter, the golfer, can I just say it's a cool moment to know somebody that's on the PGA. Just because I show up the golf course late. Josh is on hole 8.
Yeah.
He's on hole 8.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a huge gallery, but he's got a good-sized gallery anyway. And I woke up, and I'm just standing there as the other golfers are moving down the field. And Josh, I see him, and I wave. He comes over, shakes my hand, talks to me for a little bit. I think of that. You got a guy come to the ropes and shake your hand while he's in the middle of a contest.
Yeah.
That's how he makes his living.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I wouldn't do that. We're broadcasting from the desk and somebody walks in the studio and go, excuse me, let me go over and shake this guy. Maybe I would during a commercial break.
I was going to say that's the equivalent. I think you would.
It's the equivalent of a commercial break. It wasn't like he backed off
do you hope that
swing and came over.
Yeah. Do you hope that you shaking their hand would have the same impact as him shaking your hand did?
I would hope and dream that one day it would inspire.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, people love you. A lot of people say, though, that we've talked about on our TV show before, is that people don't realize you're actually kind of shy when people meet you in person. Not shy, like, I'm scared. You're just like lot more subdued than people think you are because you're so crazy on the show a lot of times. People think they're going to be like, Lee, and you're going to be like, what?
Well, what am I bringing to the table?
Nothing. Thank God you asked the question.
Right. So what am I supposed to say to them to make them feel everything that I do, whether it's on stage or on broadcast?
I've written for you.
Yeah, you've written for me, and I don't have my script there.
That's right, I know.
So what am I supposed to say? I don't want to ruin the facade.
Yeah.
You know, they may like me, and now I'm going to ruin it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But you know what I do like is when I finally warm up to somebody, the last thing I want to talk about is me. I want to talk about you. I want to hear what it is you do. What is it that excites you? What's happening in your life?
Yeah.
Unless you're boring, then I'll walk away from you.
Yeah.
Like I do Noah Day all the time.
Constantly. You got to get away from
That's boring, I'll say.
I hate this.
I'm out.
Also, another thing I've been watching this week, I was shamed by many people when John Wick 4 came out and everybody was going to see it at the theater and saying, oh, it's amazing. I'd never seen any of the John Wicks. This past week, I've watched John Wick and John Wick Chapter 2. Yeah. Probably tuck into 3 tonight and then 4 later. Keanu.
Yeah, he's an actor.
Never heard of him before.
Yeah.
No, I've seen him in a million other things, but I'd never seen John Wick, and I can't believe that I haven't. He's so good.
It's all about the dog.
I know.
It's
that
all
broke
about
my
the
heart.
dog.
That literally, I couldn't take it.
I mean,
I
did it
fell
bad
in love
enough
with the
they
dog.
kill his wife?
And then
And the only thing she left him was his puppy.
Yep.
And they kill a puppy.
And then
who does
these
that?
Guys?
They've
it was
got to die.
unnecessary. It was unnecessary. They were just there to steal his car.
Yeah, you can't.
And that son
And that
was in
like
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All this happens.
I was already in love with the dog.
It's like in Up. It's like, what have you done? I just sat down here, got my popcorn, and you have put me through the emotional ringer.
It's the
Who
worst.
directed this? Yeah. What sadist directed this movie to have me? Oh my goodness!
It's too much. It's not right. So anyway, Keanu, loving you. A performance of Keanu's I also really like, which was different for him.
A Walk in the Clouds.
Was A Walk in the Clouds. No, was Something's Gotta Give. Diane Keaton, Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, I love that. He's the heart doctor. You're
the
not
heart.
You can take Viagra. Of course, I don't take Viagra.
Yes. And
okay,
then he
because this will
starts-
kill you if I give you this in jail. Yeah, okay, I had.
Yeah, and then he pulls the thing out. And they're like, "Well, we just gave you some."
Yeah.
Such a good movie. Yeah. Any movie by Nancy Meyers. She did The Holiday. She did Something's Gotta Give. It's complicated with Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep. So good. But that one, Keanu plays a very good doctor, but love interest to Diane Keaton as well.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson is so good in that movie. Amanda Peet, too, who I love.
Oh, Amanda Peet.
Amanda Peet.
I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah. I used to get she and Lake Bell confused.
Not me.
But Lake Bell's
But
very
I see why
complicated.
that could happen.
I just would get their names confused. I'd be like, no, wait, is that? I'd know their faces, but their names.
They do look similar, though, in a way.
Kind of the coloring in the face and the teeth.
I get Lake Bell and this other actress who I can't think of at the moment, but she's a comedic actress. Well, you know, people are going to be screaming at me right now. She was actually in the latest Marvel series where she plays a witch.
Elizabeth Olsen?
Well, no, she's Elizabeth Olsen's enemy.
Oh.
And then she was also in one of my favorite rom-coms of all time.
What was it?
Went a Date with
Tad Hamilton?
Tad Hamilton. She played the bartender who was in love with
I don't think I've ever seen
Topher Grace.
Yeah.
I get her mixed up with Lake Bell. Have you got it yet? Have you pulled it up?
It's telling me Elizabeth Olsen is the witch.
Well, no, I know she's the Scarlet Witch. But there's another lady who's in that.
Well,
Why didn't you win a date with Tad Hamilton? Why didn't you pull that up?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, my
Why don't you bring something to the table? Oh, that's right. You don't.
Okay, here we go. Now we're just going to have
Now it's a
people
battle to see who can find it first.
listening to people looking things up. That's an exciting podcast. It's like having dinner with your
Kate
parents.
Bosworth?
No, I love
Jennifer
Kate.
Goodwin.
Yeah.
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn. Catherine Hahn looks like Lake Bell.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she does. Oh, you're looking at the wrong person then.
Catherine Hahn is so hilarious.
Yes, and she looks like Lake Bell.
I don't see it. But that's okay if your measly little brain thinks that. But hey, that's fine.
I'm going to do a side-by-side.
Okay, go ahead. Catherine Hahn is one of the most hilarious actresses in the world. I love her so much.
Yeah.
I love her so much. I just watched We're the Millers on TV recently, and she's in it and so hysterical. She's so good in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, speaking of rom-coms, as her friend, and then when she plays the therapist. Rageaholic.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of Lake Bell. I'm looking at her right now.
Let me see.
Okay. Oh, she went away.
They all do.
Yeah.
They all do.
But yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
So later on the show, we're going to talk with the Bourbon Life podcast host,
Yes.
Mark Rucker.
Yes.
He's got his own podcast, which is fantastic. I've been a guest on.
Longtime friend of the Lee and Hayley show. We've done many a segment where we did tastings with him or just learning about bourbon. But yeah, he's got this amazing podcast.
A master of bourbon.
Master of Bourbon, one of only 5 in the world to have that certification.
Right.
What are you doing with your phone?
Well, I was looking at seeing if, we got also because there are people that are texting me. They have topics for us to discuss, which, of course, the audience can do that as well.
What are you doing? You're doing something else.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
else.
everybody's been texting us ideas, but what are you doing?
I'm explaining what's happening. And then, but if you want to, you can write to us, ideas@leeandhaley.com.
Okay. Something shifty. You throwing me a surprise party that I don't know about.
Yeah, step on this plastic.
Oh. No, I don't think so. Okay, well, what was the highlight of your trip? You went to Las Vegas and to Palm Springs. What was the best thing you did?
Well, the weather in Palm Springs was phenomenal. The first day was
Shut up, I'm getting text messages.
75 degrees and sunny.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there.
Yeah.
That Coachella Valley, you know, the mountains.
Because, yeah, they actually hold Coachella there, like right near where you were. Right?
Tickets went on sale while we were out there.
Oh.
But it's just beautiful, those mountains that just wrap up that entire valley. It's gorgeous. Then we went to Vegas. And, we had a good time.
What is boof?
Well, Vegas is a lot.
It is a lot.
First of all, I played golf and spent more money on a round of golf than I could ever dream I would ever spend. It was as much, and this is not a brag. This is for me being embarrassed.
Okay.
It was that one round of golf cost me as much as my first car. My first car was a piece of junk. It was a 78 Volkswagen Dasher.
Love it.
So my dad paid cash for it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless.
And you took that cash and saved it, and now you've played one round of golf.
Yeah, I played one at the Wynn course.
Oh, my God.
Which is beautiful, too, because
was it worth it?
It's the only golf course in Las Vegas that's near the Strip.
Okay.
Like, in order to play golf, you got to go outside of the Strip. So you're surrounded by the hotels and
that's your view. Is
the big ball, the Sphere.
Yes, you saw it
right there. It's out my window. In the hotel room I had, I look out the window, and at night they turn it to the moon. It's kind of cool to see.
The moon looks like it's right next.
There's a video, you can look it up, of a golfer on that same course I played who is driving down the fairway. He hit, and it's the emoji, it's the yellow face emoji, and it's apparently looks like it's watching him tee off as he's driving towards the Sphere.
Creepy.
And he hits a bad shot, and he does like the slap face.
The Sphere.
The Sphere does.
Sphere?
The Sphere does. The Sphere's ashamed of this guy's. It was just, I don't know if it's perfect timing or somebody was controlling it, but it was perfect.
Maybe it's an ad for the Sphere.
Well, I don't know if it's an ad, but the whole thing is an ad.
For what?
For electricity, I believe.
They're
I don't know why they don't.
Electricity.
I don't know why they don't have more ads. Apparently, they just fired the guy who was running it.
Yeah, he lost like a bunch of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's not advertising. He's just putting emojis up.
Yeah.
But there was a show there I wanted to see with you too, but I didn't stay long enough. I had to come back.
You stinker.
There was a show, though. I saw the Rat Pack tribute show, and it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. and those guys. And these guys bring them to life. And they are not, and they do jokes you could not do today. And they go, what are you, because people sometimes will groan, and they go, what are you talking about? It's 1960. We can say what we want.
Yeah. And it's obviously all a joke. I mean, then it was kind of a joke, but it was real. But now, yeah.
Oh, it was a joke then, too.
Of course.
Just
jokes
nobody
that
was
wouldn't
sensitive.
fly now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Best thing you ate?
On the way back, we had to stop in Lincoln, Nebraska, one to refuel, but also a business meeting. And there's a place called Runzo's.
Runzo's.
Yeah. And when the driver said, because we were hungry, he's like, you guys, I'll get you Runzo. And we're like, you want to give us the runs?
I'm not interested. Thank you.
But it was really good. It's a
What was the
fast food
cuisine?
place in Nebraska that the Big Ten commissioner loves. You know, Nebraska set the record for volleyball attendance. They had a girls' volleyball
that's
game,
right.
and they had put it in the football stadium, and they almost had 100,000 people watch this thing. Well, the Big Ten commissioner was there, and he went to Runzo's after. Runzo's, it has Subway's colors. It looks like a Subway.
Okay.
It has a drive-through.
Okay.
And these sandwiches are almost like Sloppy Joe's, except they're in a hoagie bun that is almost looks like everything was injected into it because it's complete. The bread is complete except for a little hole there
Oh, on the top?
on the tip.
Or on the end, yeah.
Yeah. And then you eat it like that. It's very good.
Like almost like a bread burrito.
So I had shaved. It was like shaved beef.
Oh,
But it was Tex-Mex style. So I had jalapenos and peppers.
that sounds amazing.
and some kind of sauce. It was really good.
Runzo's.
Runzo's.
I gotta get in there. That sounds awesome. I love it.
But we ate at Smith and Walensky's. It's a steakhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, we ate there.
Yeah.
But I'm
What
talking
costs
about
more?
Runzo's.
The round of golf or Smith and Walensky's?
Actually, Milos cost more
Milos.
because it was $90 a pound for seafood.
Good fish.
Is that right? I think it was $90 a pound.
Yeah, I saw that in your picture.
And we had some kind of scorpion fish. And this guy loves lobster. So he kind of tastes like lobster. Oh. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But Runzo's was the best.
No, I'm just saying,
It was just something that sticks out.
if I'm
They
ever
were-
in Nebraska, if you're ever in Nebraska, you can go to Runzo's.
Get you some Runzo's.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got an alert. At the time we post this will be old news, but this will be new to Lee and I. Jon Stewart just said he's coming back to The Daily Show. I guess 2024 is going to be a great year after all. That's the title of the BuzzFeed
America's
article.
Anchorman.
America's Anchorman.
I love Jon Stewart. You know, we don't always agree politically, but what I love about Jon Stewart is it's always the joke comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't be more proud as an American of Jon Stewart's work he did with the victims and families of 9/11. And he it
Amazing.
wasn't just Republicans or Democrats he held accountable. He held Congress accountable.
He didn't care. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
he
was
didn't
bottom
care
line, these
who
people
you
are
were.
dying.
I like Jon Stewart, and
do too.
and again, personally, he stood up for me when I was going to open for him, and Comedy Central tried to shut me down, and then we
For
got to
timing
him.
issues, or what was the deal?
I don't know. I think they just whoever was running the show, like, why do we have to do this with this radio station? Because they said, well, he's going to host it and he's going to open.
Yeah.
And then they went, yeah, probably for timing. Whoever's running the show.
Yeah,
It's
they were like,
it's
nah, we
not
don't need
important.
that.
But thank God, my buddy Scott Wilson, who's the house MC at Comedy Off Broadway, he knew John. He worked with him at the Punchline in Atlanta, and we got backstage because I had credentials. And then we get to John, and Scott's like, "Hey, John," he goes, "You remember me?" And we start talking. And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He goes, "This is my buddy Lee, and he was supposed to open for you tonight, but they said he couldn't do it." And John said, "Who said that?" And me and Scott pointed, "Those guys." And John said, "Be right back." And he walked over there, and John is looking up at him because John's like 5'3", and he's pointing his finger, and he comes back. He goes, "Do your time, have fun."
That's so awesome. I love that story. Love John. Welcome back, buddy. We missed you. The Daily Show's been floundering since Trevor Noah left.
I'll say before that.
I know you weren't a big fan of Trevor Noah's work on that show. I mean, obviously nothing's ever going to top when John was on it. I'm saying I thought it was fine when loved it when John was on it. It was okay when Trevor was on it. And then since then they've never announced a host.
Not
It's
a
been
fan.
kind of crazy.
Trevor Noah.
They did win Emmys and stuff though. You know, it hasn't been horrible, but even the cast members I think are like, what's the plan? And
Well,
so I guess this is the plan.
If you're not going to give it to John, you should give it to my buddy Roy Wood Jr.
Yes.
I love that guy.
I know.
We worked a crappy night in some hotel in Indiana.
Yeah. Bartenders. Oh, comedy.
Comedy, yes. And I love Roy.
How do you think you'd be as a bartender? Surly? If they asked you to make a fancy drink with 48 ingredients, would you be like, nah?
We went to the Chevy Chase Inn one day, me and my buddy Devin.
Okay.
And
Dive bar in
It's a
Lexington.
dive bar in
Love
Lexington.
it.
Everybody-
It's iconic. You got to go.
yeah, sometimes my buddy Dennis Dillon will play music there, and I'll try to find the date so everybody can stay away from that.
Sure.
But we walked in there, and there's this old guy who was there when it first started in 1920, I assume, and he said to me and Devin, "What do you want?" And I said, "An old fashioned." He goes, "We don't do that." And Devin and I just went, "Okay, we'll just have it on the rocks." Yeah. He wasn't about to do a cocktail.
Would that be you?
I don't know if that would be me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. You might be like, nah, but I'll make you something I want.
No, I would do that. I got something better for you. Try this.
Excellent.
I do like to convince people of things I like and why it's good.
Yeah, because it validates you.
Does it?
Oh, no, I do the same. Like if I really like something and it feels so good when I really like something and I recommend it to someone and they really like it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I was right. Or maybe a little bit of me was like, am I right? But if someone else loves it, I'm like, okay.
I get angry if they don't like it.
You do. I don't. I'm kind of like, well, whatever. We're all different. I still like it. But you kind of never give up the fight.
Yeah, that
if they
offends
say
me.
they don't like it, you're like, well, that was dumb of you to say because I'm going to be on your ass like white on rice getting to convince you.
That happened on the trip, and I'm trying to think, what was it in reference to? It was a show or something, and we were talking to one of my buddies, and they saw it, and they said, well, I didn't care for it. I go, well, what part did you see? What do you mean you didn't care for it?
I've heard this before. Whenever anyone doesn't, yeah.
No, I need you to explain why you don't think this is good. Because I don't understand our value system as friends.
How can we be friends if you don't think that the same that I think on
that's
this?
why I get irritated.
Yeah, sure.
If it's just some random stranger, I go, well, that guy's an idiot, and I move on.
And
but
move
you
on.
can't be a part of my circle and not think this is good.
Agreed. I like that.
Okay.
Boom. Okay, in a minute, we're going to talk to Mark from the Bourbon Life podcast. Stay right there. Stay right there.
Joining us now here on Lee and Hayley Overtime, our buddy Mark from the Bourbon Life podcast. Mark is an attorney by trade, but his passion is
Drinking.
not
Oh,
really
no, I'm sorry.
drinking.
No. Tasting. Appreciating the
Yes.
craft of bourbon. I'm just kidding. Mark, it's so good to see you.
Great to see you guys.
He has
Thank
a
you
long,
so much.
yeah, it's great to have you here. He's a longtime friend of ours. We've done many segments with him on our TV show, but first time having you on the new podcast.
I've been on his podcast.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you were supposed to.
Oh, yeah, what was the
weren't
deal?
even- I don't know. She bailed on us, but we had a great time, right?
I
And,
said I won't sit near Mark. I hate
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah,
I
that's okay.
hate him.
I get
no,
it.
I think I was sick or something, which I tend to do.
It happens.
I have a weak immune system, and I try to whip it into shape through verbal assault. I'll look in the mirror and be like, "Get it together."
Or you need to drink more bourbon, and then that helps with the immune system.
You know what?
especially
I've
in
heard
the
that.
winter. I'm just
I've
saying.
heard that. Anyway, your podcast, is all about, well, the Bourbon Life.
It is.
That is the name of your podcast.
Yes.
Many of you may be familiar with it. Those who aren't, what is the Bourbon Life podcast?
The bourbon. Well, we started it in February 2020. We're coming up on our 4th anniversary, so we're technically in our 5th season.
Yeah.
But we interview master distillers, blenders, owners, people in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
people that are connected to the industry as well. We had Chef Weeda Michael on, as a matter, so
That girl's going places.
Kentucky Treasure, love her to death.
Yes.
So people that are connected to the bourbon industry as well, and we share their stories, and that's what we do. And the Bourbon Life to me, it's kind of a conduit to share the amazing stories of the incredible people that are in the bourbon industry with people all around the world. I mean, we've been downloaded in 46 different countries now, which is crazy to say.
And what's the one country that you were like, if I get a download in this country, I'll know I've made it? What country were you like, yes?
That's a good. I haven't thought about what it was. Canada. I'm thrilled to have Canada. No, not really.
Oh,
But I'm just
Canada.
kidding. But we do have podcasted listeners in Canada. But some just rare, like Ethiopia. We got like 3 downloads, and I'm like, who in Ethiopia is listening to the Bourbon Life podcast? But
Somebody that wants
is there
to
doing that.
learn
right?
about
So,
bourbon.
yeah. So I'm all for it. I'm happy to have him on board with us. So.
And he knows what he's talking about, friends. Mark recently got the distinction of Master
of Bourbon.
Master of Bourbon, one of only 5 in the entire world.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this guy knows his way around a bottle of bourbon, a glass of, I think we asked you this once on our show. How do you like your bourbon normally?
I drink it neat.
You drink it neat. I was going to
do.
say, I figured that would be your answer.
Yep.
What's the current one you're crushing on? One that if you're at home and you're going to pour yourself some right now.
The Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is just always my favorite. They put out 3 releases every year.
Oh, okay.
So the current one that came out was called the C923 batch, and it's probably the best batch they've put out in 5 or 6 years. So that's one I'm really enjoying. I got several backup
What did
bottles.
they do to
that.
make that so good? Or was it just the luck of the draw because of the weather and the rick house and the temperature and all the things so it's just rolling the dice, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, the maturation process, is different. And I think they have 8 different locations where they store their barrels in Kentucky. So they take a combination of barrels and blend it. This particular batch, though, the average age, the youngest was 13 years, 7 months old. So it is an older whiskey.
Okay.
They dropped their age statement on their barrel proof back in May. It used to always be at least 12 years old. They dropped it, and then the next release came out at 13 years, 7 months old. But this is a combination of what they blend, and they do a wonderful job of blending their barrels. They've got great warehouses. They get a lot of wonderful effects off their maturation process. And it was it's a magical barrel. I mean, it's $75
Magical
a
barrel.
bottle. So
I was expecting it to be more expensive. I mean, that's not cheap, but
yeah, you can't find it anywhere now because it's all been bought up because it's been so successful. People loved it so much.
Ticketmaster, another one of those deals, huh?
Yeah.
Screw
Pay your
job.
I tell you
$18
what.
service fee and your $20.
A buddy of mine he bought some bottle of bourbon that was aged on the ocean. That sits in the waves rocket, and this is supposed to be the thing that
That's
makes
the thing.
it.
Yes.
Because
What?
it's just it sits like on a barge, and the waves are moving it around. So but I started thinking about that, Mark. But you're not getting.
I've never heard of that.
You're not getting seasons. You're not getting cold and heat and all the other things that make Kentucky bourbon fantastic.
Yeah, and it depends. Like Jefferson's Ocean is one where they put it on a ship and they sell and they do a voyage with the barrels on the ship.
Whoa.
So they do get some seasonality changes. Plus they get that rocking back and forth. So there's constant contact with the liquid, with the barrel inside, which is really important. So you get that contact. Never Say Die Bourbon is the new bourbon that just came out. Pat Madden is actually involved with that.
Okay.
They did the same thing. They actually put it on a ship. They sold it to England, and then they aged it there, I think, for a little while as well. But I think you might be talking about O.H. Ingram, which is out of Memphis, and that's actually on barges. Yeah. So those guys take barrels, they put them on these barges, they've converted into almost like a rickhouse, and they stay there. So they do actually get the seasonal changes in those barges. They're not large. I mean, well, the barges are large. They're just not tall like a rickhouse.
Right.
But they do experience some pretty rapid temperature variations.
So we're talking about the Mississippi then.
They're on the Mississippi, yeah.
Gotcha.
They're down there right outside of Memphis. And it's really good bourbon. I enjoy what they put out, but it's called O.H. Ingram. So that might have been it because that is on a barge in the Mississippi River, which sounds kind of hokey when you first say it, but then when you taste the product, it's actually really good. So,
yeah, hokey or not.
I got a barrel sitting on a waterbed at the house.
Oh my gosh! And then, do you get temperature changes in there or seasonal changes?
I don't think we want to talk about it.
You get the cold shoulder. You get that one.
The heat.
Yeah, we haven't experienced the heat.
Okay.
There's no heat in there. It's just it's frigid.
It's frigid cold.
It's cold pressed.
So what about the bourbon life sort of surprises you still to today? I mean, when you think about what you're promoting,
Yeah.
is there anything out there that's weird or odd or fun or that
I think
you come across?
the coolest thing is the way that it brings people together, and it goes across so many different spectrums. It doesn't matter how old somebody is, because I'm an old guy, but the people I deal with and we record podcasts with are in their mid-30s or younger. So they're 20 years or more younger than I am, but we're friends, and that's really unique that you can have those types of relationships where, you've got somebody that's older, but bourbon brings us all together. It really doesn't matter where you're from, but I always marvel at that, like at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, just to look at the spectrum of people that are there, all nationalities, people from different countries, different states, different nationalities, different ethnicities, different beliefs. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you think or who you are, what your belief structure is. If everybody likes bourbon, that's the commonality, and that always can bring us together, which, it can save the world.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing about, I think, adult beverages is the social aspect of
I agree.
it. Like, that's what makes, like, when you go to dinner with your friends and you all get a glass of wine, it's like, yes, the imbibing helps you have fun and relax, but it's the sharing of it and the appreciation of it. Same thing if you both go and get, an old-fashioned or just neat bourbon.
Well, as you know, I always drink alone. So
Next to the waterbed.
yes.
Next to the barrel on the water.
And Lee just kicks it with his foot. He just rolls the barrel right there
I
on the
envision him
waterbed.
with a cowboy hat on, like on the barrel, like a cowboy riding.
Oh my gosh,
I do that.
practicing
Yeah.
for the
I talk to
mechanical-
myself sometimes looking at the ceiling mirror.
I thought it was your mother that had ceiling mirrors.
It is.
And don't get mad that I shared that. You shared that on our TV show.
I know, that's true.
And that is true.
When I was a kid,
she
had
had
that
mirrors
on a
the
waterbed, yes.
ceiling.
Yes.
How is she?
Partying.
Partying.
In
His
Florida.
mom, I love his mother. She is so hilarious and so sweet. That woman is free. She does what she wants. She lives her life.
Nice.
She's not going to leave any bucket list item not checked, I feel like.
I think that's a great way to live your life.
Yeah.
You know, do what you want to do.
Somewhere she's living the bourbon life.
Yeah, very nice.
So as Lee mentioned off the top, so you are an attorney.
Yes.
So when did your just appreciation for bourbon turn into wanting to do this podcast and turning
Sure.
it into wanting to making it a business and making it
Instagram. I'll tell you the story. Instagram. He started doing stuff on Instagram and got great feedback. And he's
Mark,
like,
can you quiet down? Lee's
yeah, I'm trying
telling
to tell the
story.
story. And
Sorry.
it was on Instagram. People started following him on Instagram.
So you just started, excuse me, Lee, did he just start posting about it?
Yes, he started posting about it. And then he realized, holy cow, I think I could maybe turn this into something else,
And
is
how
what
did that
he did.
make him feel?
Validated.
Oh my gosh.
So now he's validated. But your parking is not, and we'll see
No,
you
it's
later.
not. I know, yeah. I'll get a ticket. I think I saw somebody got a ticket the other day or recently.
Yeah, I did. I got
Lee's
that
always
ticket.
getting parking
Yeah.
tickets. And he
Because they're
always,
always out to get me, Mark.
I was going to say, because he thinks they're always out to get him, but he finished my sentence.
So, well, you mentioned Ethiopia, but I mean, is there someone in the milieu of people that you've met that you never thought you'd have the opportunity to meet because you're such a fan of this industry?
You know, just the master distillers themselves, that's really something that surprised me. When we started the podcast, and we did start the Instagram in 2018. That's how it all started.
Interesting. I'd heard about
in December.
that.
You heard that story, I think, somewhere, right? But that really, it grew.
Yeah.
And then the podcast was just the natural extension of that.
And you got a buddy does the podcast with you. That
Yeah,
guy,
Matt Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He looks
super
like a
proud.
surfer dude or something.
Matt has lived an interesting life. He spent about 5 years living in his van down at
By the river.
down by the river, down at by,
Suit jackets
by
blowing
Miguel's
out the
Pizza,
back.
Yeah.
rock climbing. He spent 5 years
In the gorge.
I
in the
can see
gorge.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Miguel's Pizza, shout out.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
stuff is good.
And then
This
he-
guy knows his stuff.
Oh, he
though.
does. He's got an amazing palate because he's worked in the restaurant industry. He also worked at a bakery. So he's had so much experience with food and spices that he can taste something and he just pulls out it's not BS. I mean, he's very, very genuine about it, but he has just that memory of those spices and the different foods he's tried that as soon as he tastes the bourbon, he can say, oh, that reminds me of this particular spice or this particular food.
Like instantly, as soon
Instantly.
as it, yeah.
It's amazing. And I mean, I'm a master of bourbon, but Matt, his palate is beyond. I mean, I could never get my palate to that point. I really don't think I could. I think it's just a natural ability that he has. Like a
So
super
some of
palate.
it's natural, but some of it can come through
Yeah,
experience
you can
too.
you
like
can
anything,
train your
yeah.
palate. You can train and taste. You know, I did that for that Master of Bourbon certification.
Right.
I spent a lot of time blind tasting whiskey just because that was part of the process, part of the certification. But Matt just does it naturally. I mean, he can taste something and he'll tell you exactly what it tastes like.
My palate just takes me to places like Spring Break, Fort Lauderdale, Men's Room, Hooters.
This reminds me of
Yeah.
that thing I tasted in the Fort Lauderdale. That's what you said.
wow. Yeah.
Just letting you know, that's what you said.
Well, whatever.
Oh, but I was telling you about the people I've met. Yeah.
Yes.
So Master Distillers, you know, we started it right around COVID, about 2 weeks before the governor shut down the entire state. Our plan was to go to all the distilleries, meet with these people in person, record the shows. It was a master plan, and then it got shut down. So we had to pivot. So we found an online recording platform. And then the master distillers didn't have anything to do either because people couldn't go to the distilleries. They couldn't travel and do their road show, you know, touting their bourbon. So they were looking for opportunities, ways to spread the word. And we were the perfect
It was
avenue.
fortuitous.
It really was. I mean, I hate to say that, yeah, COVID was
A
great
blessing.
for us, but it really,
Yeah.
for the podcast, it really launched us and gave us that opportunity to meet with a lot of distillers that we probably never would have had the chance to meet with. So
Well,
that's
you know,
been great for us.
For us, a similar story in that, you know, Driving Me Crazy was birthed out of that. And that's probably our most popular segment
Right.
where
Yeah.
people
Right.
mention. And it was us trying to help out restaurants because everybody was doing
drive to
carry
restaurants
out.
and do carry out.
And we're
Yeah,
still
remember
looking
that?
for content. And it may have been Noah Day or somebody said, why don't we put cameras in the car while you guys are picking it up? And then that segment was birthed that way, and it became Driving Me Crazy.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
And
'cause
we
I
still
see
do
that.
it. We're going to do a segment right after this.
Fun. Can I go?
Sure.
You can.
Let me put you in the back seat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you have to lay
With
like
a bottle
this.
of bourbon.
For those that are
George-
just listening, I just laid down in a sensual position on the table that Mark's going to be in the backseat of Lee's car doing.
I'll
She
do
did
the
not,
George
by the way.
Costanza on the Chase Lounge if you remember.
Oh,
that.
I just
I love
rewatched that
yeah.
episode recently. It's so good.
Such a good show.
Oh,
All right.
George.
Well, Mark, what is exciting for me, buddy, is that here you were a fan of the industry, the bourbon industry. And now, because of your passion, you've become one of the most important people that has a platform that the bourbon industry can't wait to get on.
Right.
That's a great American story, and I love it. Congratulations on that,
I
buddy.
appreciate that. It's extremely humbling to be in that position. I consider myself really to be an ambassador of bourbon, but also the state of Kentucky. I'm a native Kentuckian. I love our state. I love our product that we create here, the bourbon, and I want to do everything I can to share the story of bourbon with as many people as I can. So it's a responsibility I feel now that we've grown to this point, and I just really enjoy doing it. It's something I'm extremely passionate about, like you said.
Yeah.
And maybe one of these days I can just do it full time.
Before we wrap up here, we all drink responsibly and try to all the time, but sometimes it gets away from you. Mark, as we wrap up here, tell us one of your worst hangover stories.
Oh my gosh.
This morning.
This morning, getting ready for this podcast.
No, I'm doing dry January.
Me
So,
too.
Yeah, so it's been kind of rough this month, but I'm okay. We're almost through it. So
Right.
I'm the only guy supporting the industry right now at this
Without
table.
you, the industry would have fallen apart.
The worst story that I can think of was years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I had separated in the process of a divorce
Ooh, we're getting in there. I like this.
and decided to go to St. Louis to watch Mark McGuire hit his 500th home run. I'd been following, this was back in the late 90s.
Oh, I remember this.
So I'd been
As a kid,
following
I remember
him
this.
and watching, and I was getting my car worked on at a local dealership, and I just happened to look at the sports pages, and they were playing in St. Louis that night. So I actually went to the airport, bought a ticket in Louisville on Southwest Airlines, flew to St. Louis, went to the game. He hit 500 in 501, which was great. I went out and celebrated for him after
Yeah.
the
And
fact.
he wrote in and said to tell you.
And
thank
he
you.
did. He said, "Thank you so much. If it weren't for your support, Mark, I probably would not have done
Right.
that." Woke up the next morning underneath a tree outside of a hotel. I didn't even make it into a hotel.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
And honestly, I was sitting on the ground with my propped up against a tree, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had a flight at 10 o'clock, and
Oh,
I got to
God.
the airport.
You did.
And I had lost my ticket that night before.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
you had to have the paper ticket then.
Yeah, I had to have a
Yes.
paper ticket. So lost the ticket, had to buy another ticket.
Oh, no.
Just to fly back from St. Louis to Louisville, and got in my car and drove back to my office and actually closed like 2 real estate closings that afternoon. Yeah, so it was a rough.
You're the machine.
Oh my
that was a
God.
lifetime ago.
Yeah.
How good was the sleep that night when
Yeah,
you got
oh,
home
it
and got
was-
to get
it
in the
was,
bed?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was wonderful for sure. So
Well-
yeah, that's probably the worst. That is definitely, not probably, that is definitely my worst
Yeah.
Yeah.
hangover story.
Thank God for that tree propping you up like you
Yes.
propped up 500 and 501.
That's right.
You know?
Exactly right.
Oh, love it so much.
Mark Rucker, The Bourbon Life. Check it out on any of the podcast platforms, and check out his Instagram page too, and see what he's up to.
You know, Instagram is where it all started for him. You know that already. Okay. Mark, good to see you, buddy.
You as
Cheers.
well. Thank you.
Cheers to
Cheers.
you. Stick with Dry January. We're almost there.
Thank you.
We're almost there. Lee, keep going with Wet January.
I'm soaking wet.
Okie dokie, everybody. It is time for the portion of the show where we respond to random prompts from either you guys at home. You can send these to us, ideas at leeandhaley.com, or our staff members or friends of the show. And so we're going to start with some of those and then blindly respond to them. So here we go. Lee's got our first one. Who submitted it and what is the topic?
I go from top to bottom. We'll start with Bridget, our executive producer.
Okay.
Getting lost.
Oh, getting lost.
I assume she means geographic speaking.
I'd say so. Yeah. When's the time you got lost? Do you refuse to get lost? Do you get lost?
I try to get lost.
You do?
Yes, I like to explore spaces.
I like a
Not if I'm on a time crunch, but like if I got nowhere to be, or if I'm driving home, or I'm on vacation, I don't mind to try to get lost and then figure it out. That's
See,
fun
I don't
for
wanna
me.
get lost. You mean you just want to go out there and see what you find? Getting lost to me means I don't know where I am, and there's a bit of fear here.
I always know where I am.
Then you're never lost.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. We just coined something gorgeous.
Yeah.
You don't so much get lost, but you are. I just harken back to that time you got us stuck on the inner loop of the interstate in Nashville when we were down there for the SEC tournament for the show the first time, and you kept not.
I wasn't lost.
It was a Big Ben Parliament moment from European Vacation.
I couldn't get over.
I know, but you could. You just weren't.
No, I couldn't.
You could.
You don't know. This is what drives me insane about you. You don't know what I'm dealing with. You're over there in the cush passenger seat.
What, are you sitting on a block of wood? Your
No, I'm
driver's seat's
driving.
quite cush-
And all of my sensory devices are looking
We have wind chimes on the outside of the car.
for danger to protect you.
And I was saying, yeah, you got plenty of room to get over. You said, no, I don't think I was
did
coming
not,
up.
because you don't have a rear view mirror. I have your mirror, I have my mirror, and a rear view mirror. I have 3 gauges to know what's approaching. And you're over there just judging and making it worse.
All I know is we were in downtown Nashville, and it's like the interstate loops right there where they all connect. And I say, this is our exit. Go right here. Long way before the exit. And he goes, I can't get over. And I'm like, what are you doing? No, that was our exit. And he said, that guy was coming up too fast.
He was.
He said, I didn't like the look of him.
Yes, because he was coming way too fast. He was coming too hard. I couldn't get over.
So what happened?
If I moved over, he could have hit us.
So what happened the second time? Because we came
Same
around
thing.
and you missed it.
Same thing. I was wanting an opportunity to get over and I couldn't.
Why?
But you act as if I'm just stupid. I don't know how to get over. And I'm over there dealing with life-threatening issues. And you just, it bothers me.
Fine, you want to know what bothers me? You never put your blinker on to let them know you need over. You never slowed down. I think you accelerated.
That's the way to do it. That's how you get over. You have to accelerate.
But did you get over?
But there is a ratio. I can't accelerate and make the turn at the same time. I've done the math here. I'm calculating as we're driving. You're not. You're just wanting over there at the moment because that's how you are. You're not thinking about consequences like I am.
What are you talking about?
You don't understand the danger.
Hey, we get hit. Who cares as long as we get over?
There was one time you don't know this. We were in North Carolina coming home, and we legitimately, this was the closest I've ever been to dying. You're asleep. You have no idea how close you were to death. Because in North Carolina, for some reason on I-40 or whatever that is, they have decided to allow traffic to merge from the left.
Oh, I hate that.
On an interstate.
No, you can't do that when we drive.
Now, I'm in the fast lane on the left.
In the fast lane.
Now, who would have thought, well, traffic can merge over here? How stupid is that?
Yeah, it's dumb.
In the fast lane, and some old man had stopped, and people are now backed up, and some idiot just decided, well, I'll avoid him, did not see me coming at all.
Yeah.
And I'm doing 80 plus.
Yeah.
I soiled myself. And you slept through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think you kind of, because I had to do an evasive maneuver where I whipped it over. And I do remember this. I thought, okay, all this happens in nanoseconds.
Yeah.
The unbelievable speed as to which I comprehend
Make decisions.
everything.
Yes. Read the room.
So I don't want to hit this guy. So I have to make the executive decision to whip it into the right side, right lane.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if anybody's there or not.
Didn't, yeah.
But I thought maybe I could push them over if we make contact.
They could go into the median.
Now, the worst thing is if they're on my rear right quarter panel, they'll make us fishtail.
Yeah.
You know, that's the cop maneuver. And now you and I may roll the thing.
Yeah. Not you and I. That would be you.
You're in there.
I'm not. What do you think? I'm like making a whirlpool in the car? Like, let's roll over.
But fortunately for us, the good Lord took care of us, and we got over in the right lane, free and clear.
I remember rousing from my slumber.
That woke you up, I think.
Yeah.
And you complained about something.
I think I did. I think I was like, God, drive much?
Yeah, what are you doing? And I'm over there sweating bullets.
Bullets. Crap in your pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question.
Okay, well, we solved that.
What's the last, this is from Nikita.
Okay.
What's the last thing that made you laugh out loud? We don't laugh, Nikita.
Yeah, that's a trick question. She knows we're deadly
I was
serious.
enjoying myself at the poker table. I will protect his anonymity, but a friend of mine was playing with me, and he was being abusive to the dealer.
Oh, that's...
I mean, not really bad, but he
Okay,
wasn't...
I was like, that's not okay.
But he wasn't polite. Because, you know...
Was he joking sarcastically or being mean seriously?
He was lit. And
Drunk. Okay.
So as he would give this guy pet nicknames, and you know he'd call him Zing Zang or whatever he call him. You know, your favorite Bloody Mary mix.
Love it.
And he goes, "I got you beat." And that's not the game.
The dealer isn't.
The 4-card poker game which we were playing is a game of cooperation mainly. The dealers are there to try to help you for the most part. They want you to win. It's not their money.
Right.
But he acted as if it was.
As if Zing Zang is fighting
him and
against
Zing
him.
Zang were in a competition.
Yeah.
But he won every hand and was just loading up.
Have you seen him play 4-card poker
No.
sober?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, does he
No,
normally
that's
lose?
the only time I've ever played
Oh, okay.
cards with him.
I was going to say, but when he's
But
drunk.
he looked over at me and he would grin and he would go, "This is ridiculous. All I do is win. All I do is win."
That's amazing. His drunk card shark alter ego.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I did laugh earlier on this podcast, but I don't know. The last thing that truly, I can get absolutely hysterical with my brother and sister when we're together. And usually it's current day stuff, but it's recalling
Memories.
funny memories.
Sure.
We will get absolutely hysterical. Like the time here's a funny story. My mom had the grill on the outdoor grill and she had accidentally put it too close to the siding of the house. So it's starting to melt the siding and she's panicking. She yells to my brother and says, "Jack, go get the hose, the outside hose." And he's like 8 or 10, but he remembers it vividly. He said, and I'm like, I don't realize what's happening. So I just think Mom's watering plants or something. He says, so I walk around the side of the house where a cat's there. So I stop and lean down and pet the cat. He said, Mom, who never said curse words around us, she comes around the corner because she's like, what is taking him so long? She comes around the corner and sees Jack petting the cat. And she goes, Jack, what are you doing? Get the hose. The GD house is burning down. And he's like, oh, well, he comes around and she gets the hose.
Yeah.
Turns the grill off, cools down the siding, but the siding was melted. We did have to get it replaced. But Jack remembers it vividly because my mother, and she was in a pure panic. Like,
Well,
if we
sure.
don't start that, where is my son? And
Right,
he's petting the
cat.
tabby cat because he didn't understand the
That's
urgency.
funny.
Oh, ridiculous.
The other question, or Nikita says, is your first job in TV.
My first job in TV was I was a reporter at WBKO in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my very first job. I was a reporter. I think my work schedule was Tuesday to Saturday. And shot, I was a one-man band. And that means I carried the camera, the tripod, I shot everything, I wrote everything, I edited everything.
I
So,
don't think I told you this, but my actual first job, I think I got paid. I don't really remember. I was in.
it's only a job if you get paid. It's an internship or a volunteer.
No, it wasn't
effort.
that. No, it wasn't that.
Okay.
But what I mean was it could have been a promotional thing. I was working radio, but my first, like, where I was on TV on a regular, for some kid show, I was hosting.
What?
Yeah, it was like on Fox 56, the kids club host.
We got to find footage of that. I got to see this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that may have been
Wow.
my first job.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I ended up being a regular host over at the other place.
Why are
Where
you
you met
being
me.
cryptic?
That's where you met me.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we now just listing our jobs? The question was first job.
Well, I think I don't know if I should.
I remember
qualify
the
that.
outfit I wore to my interview because that was
Oh,
my
yeah?
first real job out of college. And I remember I wore a tan shirt dress with a brown belt and these brown Ralph Lauren heels. I'll remember it to this day. And the assistant news director complimented my shoes. And I was like, I'm in. I got this job. And I did.
Here's some questions from viewers.
Okay.
The first time you met each other, and did you kick it off immediately?
Kick it off.
Kick it off is what this guy says. Yeah.
Okay. The first time Lee and I met was in the newsroom at our previous job when we both worked in news over at LEX 18. I was the morning anchor. Lee was the roving reporter. One of, and I was quoting Blazing Saddles at my desk to some other staff members because it was a hilarious time to make a joke. And Lee walked in and was like, "Excuse me," thinking he was the only one allowed to watch Blazing Saddles. So we started joking about that, and then we met, and then we hit it off right away. We were already working together, but it was like during my first week or something, and we hadn't met each other yet. So we connected over shocking comedy first thing, and I just hit the mic.
All right. And
Anything for you?
Well, that's the story.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you kind of got it wrong a little bit. I was sitting at my desk, and I heard you quote Blazing Saddles.
I know. I said I was quoting it to other people, and you heard it, and you came over and we met.
I guess, yeah. I thought you said I was standing there. I was sitting at my desk, minding my own business.
No, you were standing there in the audience watching my show.
Yeah. Then we got... this is from David. This is Nua's buddy.
Okay.
Who lives in Atlanta. He says, if you could ask for one thing back in your life you lost, what would you ask for? I left a jacket at the Marriott, Walnut Creek, California. It's near San Francisco. Left it in that. You know what else? And then at the Venetian, I left my phone charger.
Lee.
And then when I was with you in Mississippi, when we were shooting the Open, I left like 5 good-looking shirts in the daggone...
wardrobe in the hotel room.
In the hotel room.
How do you do this? You don't do. I just assume everyone does. You don't do.
I do a check.
Not good. Not well.
There's always some item that hides from me. The Walnut Creek thing at that Marriott there. It's the closet door is also the bathroom door.
So if the bathroom's open, the closet's
yes,
closed. Yes.
That's why they got me there. And I went back to that Marriott about 5 months later, and I said, "Can you get my jacket?" And somebody stole it because they were holding it for a while.
Oh.
And then somebody took it.
Well, don't you know? They look dapper.
I can show you that jacket. I got a picture of it. I miss it.
Okay. I miss it. All right, show it to us.
All right.
Oh, no, I do. When I leave a hotel room, I do the most OCD room check you've ever seen because I'm terrified of leaving something. Especially if it's like a hotel like far, far away. I go to each section of the room like 5 times. This is once I have everything packed up and like in the doorway about to leave. I walk around the room like 3 different times.
I apologize for those just listening to the audio.
Lee's holding up a close-up photo of him in what appears to be a navy jacket that some man or woman is wearing right now.
Remember that one?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that one?
Yeah, does that matching pants or is it just a jacket?
I think it was just a jacket.
Well, it's beautiful. R.I.P. It's okay.
No, it's not. I'm never going to get that fit so well. I loved it.
What brand was it? Express?
I don't know. It may have been like a Derby.
You got to start checking hotel rooms. You got to start doing
my own?
Yes. When you leave, you got to check everywhere. I do it every time. It's so annoying. Like OCD. I know I've already checked one area, but I got to check it again at least 3 times. I never leave anything. Never. Okay, next question.
What's your worst sports memory? Now, I don't know if that means...
When we were playing sports or watching?
We're playing or watching. It's easy. It's the Christian Laettner thing.
Yeah.
That is...
Now, have you seen the new Continental Tire commercial with Laettner and the guy that made the pass to him?
Grant
Hill?
Yeah.
They're both in it, and it's painful.
Yeah, well...
Unless you love them.
You know,
I mean,
if
I like
you're
them
Continental
Grant
Tire...
Hill love. It isn't on. I kind of don't
this.
understand the
Okay,
time.
let me ask Continental Tire this.
Okay.
All right. Duke is an erudite school. One of pomposity, where it's the Ivy League of the South.
Yes.
Very few people get in.
Yeah.
You know, it's pieces of work like Matt Jones go to Duke.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. Small fan base. Mm-hmm. They had a great basketball program because of Coach Krzyzewski, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But we don't like them. And that was the most painful memory, Kentucky fans, which the Big Blue Nation is the largest fan base. And you're going to celebrate that because I know what you think. Well, they were teammates and they had these championships. That's not what we think of.
Yeah.
We think of that one moment. Yeah. We think of Rick Pitino not putting somebody on the ball in front of Grant.
They reenact the moment in the commercial.
Yes. Why would you? Why?
I don't know.
This like if I'm selling stuff in Boston and I'm going to show Yankees rolling a ball through Bill Buckner's legs. Mm-hmm. Why would I do that to him?
Well, Grant Hill is...
Do I not want to sell things?
Yeah.
Stupid.
They want to sell tires to Duke fans.
Well, good luck, because there's very few of them.
Yeah. It's great. Grant Hill does a good job, and the whole commercial is about the assist and how important it is. And I threw a great assist, and then it shows Leitner at the end, and he chucks it in.
Anybody could have thrown that ball.
That's, yeah.
Anybody. I could have gotten my grandmother to throw that pass.
Sure.
Because we didn't
have
put
anybody on the ball.
Somebody in front.
Nope, we didn't.
And the thing that irritated me about Coach Pitino is then he would double down on it. I would do it again. Well, we get beat again every time you say that.
Yeah, go ahead, do it
Why
again.
can't you say, yeah, I should have put somebody on the ball?
Is it true Patino said the F word in a press conference recently?
I'm sure it is.
I think he did. That man doesn't care about anything. Love it. Love it.
One more. And
One more and we'll wrap this baby up, put a little bow on it.
oh, here's an interesting one. If you could meet anyone dead or alive for 30 minutes, who would you meet and what would you ask them?
Marilyn Monroe, and I'd say, what happened? Did you kill yourself or did someone kill you? Tell me right now.
Well, does she know that?
If someone murdered her, yeah. She
Well,
would
maybe
know.
she was, poisoned.
Well, I'd say she's gained the knowledge in death.
Oh.
She can come back and tell us. I don't know why that popped in my head. I'd love to meet her in person, see her, just appreciate her gorgeousness and her sweet soul, and then ask her what happened. That's one of those great American mysteries I need to know the answer
I know
to.
you're supposed to say somebody historical, but I'm going to say Norm Macdonald. I'd like to spend 30 minutes with Norm Macdonald and just laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I finally
He's
watched
so
Dave
funny.
Chappelle's new stand-up where he
Oh,
talks
where he
about
talks
Norm.
about Norm.
And he took him to meet Jim Carrey, who
Yeah,
was in
that's
method
a
acting.
funny joke.
Hilarious. So hilarious.
Yeah.
He goes, I was mad. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, Norm would be, man, lost way too soon. So hysterical. His delivery, his voice. You hear his voice and instantly.
Yeah, that Canadian backwoods thing he did there.
So good.
Yeah, that's a good. What was the joke? I don't want to repeat that joke, but I saw him tell that joke to Conan the other day, and I loved it.
We found your son.
Oh, that's a.
Oh, so
No, that
good.
was in his podcast.
Yeah, that was on his
He was
podcast
talking
with
to Bob
Saget.
Saget.
Yeah. Oh, gone too.
Yeah, Bob Saget was saying, how he was trying to be sentimental.
And said, I was talking to someone who said, I just lost my son.
Yeah.
I've lost my son.
And
he
Norm
said-
says,
Yeah, and what does he say? He said, and then I go to tell him, and then Norm breaks in and goes, we found your son.
and Bob looks at Norm with such disgust. One, because he trumped him. That's funny. It interrupted the sentimental story.
Yeah.
But it's just mainly because, daggone it, Norm.
Yeah, like,
Well, you got to be so funny.
oh, it's so hilarious. And
Yeah.
and then Norm doesn't care at all. He just goes, well, that's our show. And he meant it.
We found your son.
Oh, so good.
Told me he lost his son.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of the Lee and Haley Show podcast, or the Lee and Haley Show Overtime podcast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And then, if you don't know, if you are just listening, the video version of this podcast is on the Kentucky Sports Radio YouTube channel as well. Send us any comments or anything to ideas@leeandhaley.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment below. You can leave comments and questions and stuff there. So we appreciate it. Follow the Lee and Haley Show on social media, and Lee and I both. Good working with you.
Thank you.
We found your son.
Okay.
No, he wants to connect with you. He loves you. His name is Lee Jr.